Greetings and welcome. This is an exciting day for me. It's just going to be a short video, and the reason I'm doing this is because I was contacted out of the blue by someone a couple of weeks ago who had come across my channel through a friend, and he himself is an amateur geologist with an extensive knowledge and an amazing collection of stones. And he took an interest in these stones and the work that I've done, and was fascinated because he hasn't come across stones like this in his geological journeys. And a friend of his is the owner of an extensive laboratory, and this man is an expert not only in geology but also in the forensic analysis of antiquities when it comes to dating and authentication. And this is the kind of guy that billionaires turn to when they're going to buy something that costs, $500 million, and they want to make sure that they're getting what they're paying for. So anyway, I had a number of specimens. They asked me to send some of the best, but I was hesitant to let go of some of the ones that I have because I'm waiting for laboratory analysis. And today's also an exciting day because I actually have finally found a laboratory that allow me to do a CAT scan analysis of some of the best specimens that I have. I'm hoping to be able to do that at the end of the week, and then of course I'll make a video about the results and see if there's any wonderful things revealed by the CAT scan, which will give me a 3D X-ray of the internal structure and density of the rocks. But when it comes to other laboratory analysis, like things like spectroscopy, also known as X-ray fluorescence, that gives you the molecular breakdown of what's in the stone. So if there's a correlation between that, what they find with the XRF and what would normally be found in a fleshy heart that's not petrified, then that would be an awesome thing to add to the list of coincidences. So we'll see how that all works out. I'll be sending these off. I went out into the field for a couple of hours and pulled almost all of these except for a couple out in just about 90 minutes of searching. You can't really tell here, but these are really special, and they come to life when they are put into water. So anyone who's seen the videos that I presented already knows that I talk a lot about this harp shape. There's a fleshy quality, and usually you can see this one's been wet on the backside. And we'll just dip it in here. And you can see how this just comes to life when it's in water. So the heart is surrounded in a fatty sac called the pericardium. So a lot of these are white, and then when little bits are rubbed away, it reveals the red that's on the inside. Talked a lot about the different features when it comes to the shapes, and that when the heart goes into rigor mortis upon death, that the heart is a muscle, so it contracts like all the muscles do, and the ventricles taper inward on the sides. The bottom side tends to either be flat or curved inward. There will be a spiral at the bottom because of the toroidal spiral nature of the way the heart fibers contract, which I've talked about in several videos. There will also be at the top of the rocks, there will be usually either indentations, creases, or actual holes where the aorta and the vena cava would have been. And then on the sides, there will oftentimes be the same thing for the pulmonary arteries. So this one, you can see it's white on the outside, but where it gets wet, it really starts to reveal the fleshy quality of the stone. So it's going to be really interesting to see. This one has a little chunk taken out on the sides, and that's good because what I wasn't aware of until I spoke to the man who owns the laboratory was that he prefers that I deliver him rocks that have already been fractured. So I'll be sending most of these along just for his own collection and the other gentleman who put me in touch with him. And then maybe he'll actually crack some of these open as well, the ones that are whole. And you can see again, there's your crease and your blood vessel openings, that telltale harp shape, the curving in on the sides, the flattened bottom. This one is the same thing. You can see here, got the opening at the top and there as well. And then you've got that curved, beautiful underside. Oftentimes one side will be a little bit thicker and then the other side will be almost like a knife edge. This one is amazing. Look at this one. Look at how fleshy that is. And then it's got the blood vessels right there at the top. What are the odds? What a coincidence, and that curved underside. And then this is also showing the sulcus lines for the intraventricular sulcuses, which is where the fibers of the heart meet as it rolls up. The heart is not a four-chamber pump. It's a single continuous band that's known as the myocardial ventricular band that was discovered by the Spanish cardiologist Francisco Torrent Guasp, also known as Paco. I've done several videos on his work. Amazing man that's given us so much as far as our understanding about the heart goes. So here you can see that knife edge that I was talking about. And there's that shape again. So it's going to be interesting to see what these yield. This one is amazing because it's still showing the blood vessels. And also your aorta right at the top. So flattened top, harp shape. Now they're not always like this. Sometimes they're round. Like an elephant's heart is more of a round blob, and a giraffe's heart is long and narrow. And so depending on what species you're looking at and whether it's a 3-chamber or a 4-chamber heart, you're going to get different results. This one is extremely fleshy, and you can see that twist at the bottom and the curved underside. And there's a scalability to it all these little tiny ones. See a little indentation there, right where it should be. People say I'm cherry picking these, but I've gone out in the field and in a matter of 10-15 minutes found a dozen. Hey, look at that little indentation. And the thing that makes some of these so nice is that I theorize that once a heart has been petrified, or other organs as well, I'll show you some other examples in a second of other organs. Once that's happened, it stays a rock. So if there's another cataclysm, another reset, I think that what happens is the fleshy quality, somebody's beeping on my door, they can wait. The fleshy quality, I think, goes away with each successive reset, whatever it is, whether it's a volcanic cataclysm or some kind of a major electrical phenomenon. There's your aorta at the top, or whether it's something mythical or biblical, like the glittering sword of God in the Bible, or the Medusa of the Greeks. So I'm going to pause it here and see who's outside, and then I'll continue the video. So these two gentlemen that I spoke of have generously offered to not only do the analysis, but to do them for free and to offer me a bound copy of the lab results afterwards. And like I said before, he's more interested in stones that have fractures. He explained to me that some rocks have radiation inside, and so breaking them open can be dangerous, and he prefers to do analyses on stones that already have undergone some kind of a fracture. So here's a little tiny one that I'll be sending, and some of these, as soon as they're wet on the inside, they show a reddish quality. This one is quite fleshy, so I've decided to throw that one in because it's got a little chunk there on the end, and you can see how red that is even without wetting it. Looks a little fleshy, bloody inside, doesn't it? This is an amazing rock here, and you can see this inside of the stone is completely different than the outside. But you can tell if that break wasn't there, it would look just like all these other ones I've been showing. Here's another one showing the sulcus lines. It's got a little fracture there, but that one's not so fleshy. So this would be a second or third reset rock, perhaps. I'm very curious about this one. This is a stone I found about a year and a half ago, and it's got fractures here. The whole thing is broken, but take a look when it's opened up. You can see the remains of the chambers in there, and that is the iron ore that's in the blood. So that would be an interesting one perhaps to do DNA analysis on. He's got all kinds of different testing techniques beyond just spectroscopy. This one is amazing. I think this is probably, of all the rocks I found, this is probably the one most likely to yield a DNA result. And that chunky quality in the center is what's known as trabecula carne. And in the Mud Fossils, the Heart of the Matter Part 1 video, I show exactly what that looks like. I also go in with endoscopic cameras and I show the chambers in this rock here. You can see the fleshy quality, the openings of the blood vessels there. That's the coronary artery on the top. You can see the fat that normally sits between the left atrium and the left ventricle. And then on the back side, the aorta opening. A lot of people have asked me about the other organs, and the thing is, lungs and livers have lobes, so the rocks are likely to cleave upon lobe lines and then no longer look exactly like they would. I've found many kidney-shaped rock, and the aorta, or sorry, not the aorta, the artery and the vein enter into the side of the kidney at this point. So if you find kidney-shaped rocks, you'll be amazed at how often they have little indentations right there. I'll come back to that one in a second. You can see, but a kidney isn't such a distinct one. This, however, is, because not only does it have the opening to the blood vessels, but see those lines there? That is what is known as the renal medulla. You can look that up and see what that looks like, or I'll show a picture in the video when I edit it before releasing it. So that is incredibly specific in combination with that. Let's see what this one looks like underwater. Can't remember. Yeah, so those central portions, it's like mud in there almost. So it'd be interesting to see. So I'm going to send this chunk and save the other one for myself. And I believe this to be one hemisphere of a brain. I think I've talked about it in other videos. In my Petrified Titans and Organs Part 1 and 2 videos, especially the Part 2 video, I show examples of other brains that are just undeniably petrified brains of whale, brains of other species. And the interesting thing about this one is it has an indentation right here. Now the back of the brain, if we were looking at it from the side, the back is where the cerebellum, which is known as the little brain, sits. So that would be sitting in that indentation there. But the other thing that's interesting is the brain has two halves, right? The two hemispheres of the brain. So the other hemisphere would be here. And the space between them is rich in blood flow. And so this is interesting. It's called the corpus callosum. And you can see that right in the center of this stone, there's a distribution of iron ore. And that's right where the two halves of the brain would have met. I can't really explain why I don't find more brains. But that's a puzzle to solve for another day. I mentioned the knife edge when I was talking about this rock. The knife edge is amazing to see. This is the second biggest one I've ever brought home. I just found this the other day. And you can see one side is thicker, and then the other side has got this sharp knife edge. You can see the curved underside. And then at the top, oh, just like you'd expect an aorta to be there, right? Here's a smaller version, same kind of thing, a little thicker on that side. Oh, not so much of a knife edge, but you can definitely see the aortal opening. And this one is showing sulcus lines as well. Let's see what it looks like wet. I said it was going to be a short video. I guess not so short after all. But let's see the quality. I'm not sending this one off, but I just wanted to show it because it's so beautiful. And then this is the biggest of them, showing the pulmonary arteries. This is known as the isthmus, the space between the two pulmonary artery openings. If you look in there, you can see bumps, which are the remains of the papillary muscles, which are the muscles that open the valves of the heart. On the back side, at the top, you've got your aorta, right where it should be. And then you can see here, this line is your sulcus line for the intraventricular sulcus. It has a different name on the backside, which I've forgotten, but it's the same thing. It's where the different fibers of the heart meet. So yeah, so these are all the broken ones there, and this little collection here are all going off with the post today, and I have no idea what the turnaround time is on the lab. I know this gentleman travels a lot as well, so you know, stay tuned and we'll see what the results are. But it's very exciting, and hopefully the people doing the analysis, you know, that they don't have agendas that they're serving, and that everything is done with integrity, and we get some accurate results for these stones. It's exciting to finally be moving forward with this. Anyway, I hope you're all well. Take care. Keep your hearts soft. They work better that way.